biggest challenge, of course, was the money. I'm a freelance, and I knew that this is such a fantastically important subject, and I really, really wanted to do it. And for quite a long time, I didn't have an idea where I could raise the money from. And enter Piotr Krupa. Piotr Krupa, who knew me very little. I turn up as a sort of public person. Obviously, he knew who I was. But I will never forget our conversation when I presented the subject to him, subject matter, what the film was going to be all about. And I simply, brazenly asked, would you like to support such an idea? And he did. I mean, he didn't vacillate even for a second. He said, yes, I will go into this project. Well, I nearly fell off my chair. I was absolutely flabbergasted. Of course, I was massively grateful for a very specific support, which translated into a lot of money, which allowed me to carry on with this project and ultimately make it. But for me, personally, far more important was a fabulous credit of confidence that Piotr Krupa, by supporting this project with very specific amount of money, really quite a lot of money, that he simply demonstrated that he trusted me. And he trusted someone whom he barely knew. And for me, it was something that I would never forget during the 2 years of the whole process of this filmmaking. The subject came to me. It was an offer that was presented by a production company. It was just, they told me about this big conflict in this faraway country, in this beautiful part of the Amazon jungle, which belongs to Ecuador, that there is a big conflict between the ecology and the big oil interest. And the rest is history, so to speak, and the rest was really up to me. I had to figure out how to tell the story. I very quickly realized it's not just a local story, something that happened in Ecuador, a small Latin American country hardly anybody heard about, that will be simply a device. The story of the Yasuni initiative would be a vehicle that will allow me to tell a global story of global importance. And that was the main challenge, and that was what I was concentrating on for 2 years of my work on this film. I think that this film, as hopefully most of my films, that it will function as a kind of a mirror. Look at work. You can look at yourself and see how incredibly irresponsible you are. Because the idea of leaving the oil in the ground that turned up 10 years ago, it's not longer crazy and utopian, as one of my contributors in the film says. It's absolutely necessary. This initiative, people will learn, is far more important today, 10 years later, than it was when it was launched by Ecuador in 2007. One of my thoughts that was kind of coming in and out during the course of filmmaking, and definitely when I put the last dot on it, is how come we humans are possibly the only species on this planet gifted, inverted commas, with such a self-destructive gene. Because what we are doing to ourselves, it's a complete madness. And I think that this is the message of this film. This is what we can learn from this film. If the question is, will I change the world with this film? The answer is no. I'm not that naive. I've learned my lessons. I'm simply doing my best. And this is my contribution. And the knowledge, I mean, I think that this film brings a lot of knowledge that people are completely unaware, and also raises the conscious, how important, the consciousness of people. And I think that this is the inherent value in this film and in its message. It tells you a very important story, and then it's up to you. I mean, this is really the message, which is directed to decision making, to politicians, people who make decisions in our name. It's just a few of them, and there are millions of us suffering the consequences of such decisions. So that's the message of this film. What really surprised me while I was carrying on with the filmmaking is that this little Yasuni National Park is a focus of, global problems. In there, it is like a scene, where it's a platform where we can identify all the critical, all the most pressing global problems of contemporary world. And, Yasuni is just a playing stage for all this. And this is precisely what confirmed my initial instinct that I have to tell, on the local story, I have to tell a global story, and the message from this film has to be global, which I think I achieved the goal. It was a 2-year project which actually quite heavily impacted my plans for the future, what I want to do as a filmmaker in my future projects. And I know that as of now, I really would like to concentrate on subjects that are of global importance, that concern us all. I just don't want to carry on with making I never done a little film, but I really want to embrace in my future productions big subjects, global subjects of global importance.
Coming soon to video on demand.